Let's try to clarify a little bit. There's a little bit of confusion, right?
Of course.
Is it the same thing?
For sure, there's a lot of confusion about that because generally all the wines with the bubble became Prosecco, so there is a little bit of confusion.
Italian wine travel with Stevie Kim.
Hello everybody, my name is Stevie Kim and welcome to the Italian Wine Travel with moi, Stevie Kim. Today we are in Asolo, actually, officially Asolo Montello area of course, Prosecco land. It's a little bit maybe lesser known than the others, but we are here today with Gianpaolo Giacobbo. Giacobbo. How do you say? Giacobbo. Gianpaolo, so tell us who you are and what you represent for the Prosecco.
For Asolo Prosecco area, I'm sort of brand ambassador of this area. I live close to here, so I love to tell all the people in the world the story of this place and of course of the wine.
So what is actually the official name of the Prosecco denomination in this area?
Asolo Prosecco Superiore DOCG.
And what about Montello?
Montello is one of the hillside part of this area. We are in the Veneto region. Prosecco area is really a big area in the old Veneto region and part of the Friuli Venezia Giulia region. Part is from Prosecco DOC, then there are the part of Valdobbiadene and Conegliano DOCG, and here we are in Asolo Prosecco Superiore DOCG. The hillside is two different parts. One is surrounding the village of Asolo, that's close to here, and the other one is Montello, little mountain, something like that.
Okay, and so today where are we? Where are we?
We are really close to the village Asolo, the beautiful village, historical village, and this hill, as you can see, we are really inside the denomination, inside the real concept of Asolo Prosecco.
So what is, in terms of grape varieties, what is the difference between Prosecco, Valdobbiadene, and Asolo?
Generally, all the wines with the bubble became Prosecco, so there is a little bit of confusion. Variety are the same, so the most important is Glera. After that, in this area, especially in the other part of the hill, there are some local variety. One is Pereira, Bianchetta, Trevigiana, Verdiso, and it's very nice to discover this also in the history of this place, because in the past the people used the local variety to give different taste, to different characteristics to the cuvée of the wine. For instance, by the law, 85% is Glera, and the rest, 15%, is a local variety. After that, there are few producers that use the local variety. You know, most of the producers, they have Glera.
And how do you produce? What is the production method of Asolo Prosecco DOCG?
In terms of bottle, you mean?
I mean, in terms of, is it still all Charmat?
Well, most of the production is in Charmat method, Martinotti method, and is produced extra brut, extra dry, and dry. It depends on the residual sugar. And then, by the law, there is one particular typology of Prosecco that is sui lieviti. So it is a traditional method that is produced in this area. Sometimes it's called fondo, you know. It's a second fermentation in the bottle with the yeast inside. That's why the wine is a little bit cloudy. Total zero sugar, and this is something that was used in the past. Now, especially the new generation of producer, they discover another time this sort of traditional method.
So, you know, I know you were our guest at Veneto International Academy, and they asked this question. What is the difference between col fondo and ancestral method?
It's important to understand what it really is, because ancestral method, ancestral, it means is from the past. It was when the wine is bottling with a little bit of residual sugar, and they have the second fermentation in the bottle. Okay, this is ancestral method. Col fondo, and this is a modern technique. You have, first of all, the first fermentation, so it's totally dried. It completes the first fermentation. Then you put inside of the bottle yeast and sugar to have the second fermentation. The difference is that you add the sugar and the yeast, and the other one you have your own sugar and yeast. The first is ancestral, the second one is col fondo.
And furthermore, then what would be the difference between metodo classico and col fondo?
Well, of course, there are totally two different types, because metodo classico, you have a second fermentation in the bottle, but with the metodo classic, then you have the degauche. So you separate the part of the yeast with the part of the wine. In col fondo, it remains inside of the bottle. That's why it's called col fondo. That is a sort of slang, you know, that is with the dip. Because in the dip you have the yeast, and if you move the bottle, you have all these sort of cloud of yeast that moved inside the bottle. The rule of the yeast is very interesting because it's a natural stabilizer of the wine.
I suppose in a blind tasting, how can you tell the difference between Asolo, Valdobbiadene, and Prosecco?
Of course, there are a lot of differences. For sure, they are similar because the area is even if it's really a big area, but it's always here in Veneto region. But there are some interesting differences between Asolo and Montello, and Valdobbiadene and Conegliano, and Prosecco DOC. In this area, Asolo Prosecco Superiore DOCG has a big structure. Because of the soil. The soil is really rich in mineral and rich in all the elements that give a big structure of the wine. In Valdobbiadene and Conegliano is a little bit different, because even the aromas and the taste is the way of the flowery or a little bit of fruity, and here is more citrus and herbs.
So it's more citrusy and herbaceous compared to Valdobbiadene, which is more flowers and more fruit.
It is.
Is that correct?
It is correct.
I mean, it's
correct.
It's a gross generalization, but this is something very useful.
Of course, so is this. For sure, if we taste the Prosecco coming from this area, and the area from Monfumo, for instance, or close to the mountain or close to the river, we are all totally different taste. For me, in this area is the moment of this big challenge, to give the opportunity to the producer to give the difference of the taste that have origin from the place where they come from.
So before we close, Gianpaolo, to our audience, tell us 5 things about Asolo Prosecco DOCG that they should remember. 5 things. Go ahead.
One is the place where they come from. That is rich in biodiversity, look at that. And there's a healing side, that means fresh air. And the second one is the soil, very rich in minerality, because the origin of this soil is a sedimentary soil, so for the uplift of the seabeds in the past, and so it's rich of fossil and shells, and that mean minerality, because the roots they can have the nutrition from the soil in this way, and so it's rich in minerality. The third one is because a really story about this area, and there is the culture of beauty. We can find the culture of beauty even in the glass, because here in the past there was the places of the noble family coming from Venice, and they demonstrated their power with the wine, with the oil, with the table. And so year per year it arrived in our minds the sense of culture of beauty. Another one, because it's a beautiful place, why not? Good wine comes from beautiful place. And the last, but not least, is because I think there is a moment also for the wine to have an approach of simplicity, but with deep idea, you know. Simplicity is really hard to do. when you can do the simplicity in this way, so there's, I mean, easy to drink, easy to stay, easy to feel, should be something that we have to look for.
Okay, so continue with us to discover Asolo territory, Asolo Prosecco, DOCG in particular. So
Thank you so
very
much.
much as we continue. Chin
Of
Chin
course.
with
Stevie Kim.
Italian wine people, and today we were with Gianpaolo
Giacobbo.
Giacobbo. I'll never get that right.
Okay, no worries.
Alrighty.
Enjoy.
Okay.
Thank you.